So my name is Bob Kegan, and I'm the Meehan Professor of Adult Learning and Professional Development at the Harvard University Graduate School of Education. I'm very happy to extend my best wishes to the new Keynes Centre and to Connell Fanning, who I've had the privilege of learning with and regarding as a dear colleague and friend for, yes, maybe 10 years. And uh, most of what I know about Keynes, I would say I know from Connell, but I can uh, believe that it would be in the truest tradition of what Keynes stood for, to be bringing together both theory and practice, and at the same time bringing together behavior and mind, and that we can't really achieve any lasting changes in behavior without implicating changes in mind. And I think that's very much in the Keynes spirit. So my research has been about the possibilities for the further growth of the mind in adulthood. And when I started out as a graduate student in the 1970s, if you were interested in developmental psychology at all, it meant that you studied children and adolescents, infants, because that was the period of the lifespan in which we believed development went on. And just as we knew that you tended not to get any taller than you reach in your middle 20s, we believed that the mind and the brain did all of its developing by the middle 20s as well. And I just happened to be lucky enough to come along at a time when it seemed like a novel question to ask whether that was actually true. And the research that my colleagues and I have engaged in helped create the field of adult development. And today, of course, the brain scientists have recanted a lot of those early orthodoxies and now talk about the phenomenal neuroplasticity of the brain. So, having spent now a generation studying the possibilities for adult development, it has all kinds of implications for organizational life. If we believed that the basic mental equipment was pretty much established in the first 25 years, then when we think about increasing people's capabilities at work, it would be largely about how to get more out of the same mental equipment that was essentially built or created, in the first 25 years. Now that we recognize that that equipment can itself change in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, it opens up a whole new way of thinking about capability development in life in general, but in organizations as well. But the reality is that high performing organizations today, and increasingly so in the future, are going to be organizations that are filled with employees who have the abilities and even have the needs and the desires to themselves be heard, have their own opinions kind of about the answers to these big questions, who want themselves to be able to put their hands on the levers and dials of the organization and to help shape it. And the most successful leaders are going to be people who are not perturbed by this impertinent desire on the part of employees to exercise some of their own independent thought, but are actually increasingly going to want such independence of thought among their employees. But that desire then creates almost a hidden curriculum that we have to get better at helping adults to move from the socialized to the self-authoring mind, to get better at developing more of the internal authority that will enable them to play the more complex game that is increasingly going to be desired at work. One of the exciting kind of potentials of the Institute is to bring some of these older and newer ideas about the growth mindset to a whole host of arenas, whether it has to do with adolescence and spurring their own development, helping them to adopt more of a growth mindset, whether it has to do with enterprises that come to see that taking a developmental attitude toward your workers and toward your work culture might be the most powerful way to accelerate the performance of your organization. I'd say the world is open to and in need of what the Keynes Institute can bring, and I just want to wish it all the best.